Ladies and gentlemen, our wrestling podcast, available on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher, SoundCloud, YouTube, and iHeartRadio. So, without further ado, the following podcast is scheduled for one fall, and it is a fan request from Nick Apolowski. WrestleMania 7.
Welcome to the O.W.P. This is our wrestling podcast. This is Dave along with Jess.
Hi, David.
And Craig.
Hey, David.
Bringing you our perspective on the world of professional wrestling. No inside sources, no ties to the industry, just stories from the diehards, sharing opinions with you. And now on to our topic today, WrestleMania 7. Hit us up on Instagram at O.W.P 2019 and click on Linktree.
Oh, David.
That sounds so bad.
World Wrestling Federation Champion, Sergeant Slaughter.
Oh my God.
Versus the Immortal Hulk Hogan.
I want him to do every WrestleMania announcement from the
But
beginning.
it's so
I
funny
swear to
that
God.
after he became Mr. McMahon, like that's when everyone started noticing that, he's so exaggerated. I'm like, he'd always been exaggerated.
He was
like,
always like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I just want him to come out one more time and be like, this is WrestleMania 36.
Yeah, I don't want
just
to see him at all anymore. I just want him to do voiceovers still for the pay-per-view.
Voiceovers would be, yeah.
So I know I
yeah,
interrupted
sure,
your
No,
the
you're
shit
fine.
that we're available on.
I know. Hit us up on Instagram at O.W.P 2019. Click on Linktree, and you can find us on several platforms, including Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, iHeartRadio, even Stitcher. Did I miss anything? There's a bunch coming up.
Dixie Cups and String.
Oh,
I
yeah.
think Cuz signed
you
us
can
up
find
for
it. You can find it there. Hey, guys. The reason why we're doing WrestleMania 7 is because we got a cool shout out on one of our Facebook followers, Nick Apolowski. Did I say that right? I think I did. Thanks so much, Nick, for this recommendation. And for all of you guys that think that we wouldn't actually take care of your recommendations, you're wrong, because as soon as we get one, we are doing it. And we're really excited to do it for you, Nick. So shout out to you. I hope you like it. What do you guys think about this first request and how quickly we're doing it and about the topic itself?
We're in WrestleMania season right now, basically.
Perfect time, Nick. Right? Yeah. Good job, Nick.
So yeah, and I kind of I like it when he, usually we kind of put our heads together and come up with the topics, but I like the outside perspective. I think that I probably would have never chose just a particular pay-per-view, but he suggested it and said, "Hey, do you take requests?" I was like, "Sure." And he was like, "Why don't you do a WrestleMania 7? It's one of my favorite WrestleManias, and 1991 was my favorite year, basically, of WWF." And I was like, "You got it, pal." So here we are.
You got it, pal.
You got a pal. We got Craig with us as well.
Yeah.
You guys give your fans what you want. Name a podcast will give a suggestion and turn it around in quick time. You guys are great.
What do you mean, you guys? You're part of this too, buddy. Come on.
Thanks, buddy.
Come on, buddy. So, anyways, WrestleMania 7. I always talk about this offline, but the actual artwork for WrestleMania 7, if I could just get to it real quick, was one of my favorites. Hulk Hogan being dastardly, every muscle bulging out of his cartoon head and body and everything else, carrying that American flag was like the coolest thing ever when I was a kid. Agree? Disagree? I thought that shit was awesome.
Yeah, they did. They really did some cool artwork like for this Mania, and they did for a couple Manias like around this time period. But yeah, the 7 was like the one where they just went, "I put the American flag all over him," and like so it was just kind of every picture, whether it was animated or real life Hulk. He had a red, white, and blue bandana he wore. I'm sure his underwear was red and blue, and like so yeah, it's just everything was about America. I believe the subtitle for this Mania was Stars and Stripes Forever, and we're gonna get into
Superstars and Stripes, Jess.
So, oh, sorry,
Whoa.
I'm so sorry. Craig is correct. Superstar. Yeah, what am I thinking? Superstars and Stripes. Superstars, pal. Superstars.
Superstars and stripes.
We're not wrestlers. We're superstars.
That's right. We are superstars. Oh, goodness. So why don't Jess or Craig, either one, why don't you lead us into the backdrop that led us to WrestleMania, why some of the matches where they were, what were the major storylines coming in, and why were they that way? What was the real life backdrop to the country at that time? Let's get into it.
This whole WrestleMania was based off the notion of we're going to play on the Gulf conflict at the time. There was a lot of madness going on in the Middle East. There was always madness going on in the Middle East, but on this particular one, correct me if I'm wrong, Craig. I'm not a very polished historian, but Saddam Hussein invaded Kuwait. Am I correct?
Yes,
and the United
you
States
are.
said no. I don't know why I gave an accent to the United States.
The Americans are like, no, you don't. Americans like,
Yeah, they're all, you're not going after our oil. So I guess,
Whoa.
so basically we could, whoopsie daisy. So we got involved and we decided to go over there and basically show our muscle and say, get out or there's going to be problems. So, of course the media is like, it's the Gulf War, which it wasn't a war. It was like a conflict. And it started late 1990. We basically decided to go over there early 1991, right around the Royal Rumble time. And it lasted, I think we were over there for about 2.5 minutes. And then we were like,
something like that.
we were like, we won. And so basically they had set the table. They had turned Sergeant Slaughter heel. They made him an Iraqi sympathizer. So this former American hero turned Iraqi sympathizer, even wore the Iron Sheik curly boots, which means you're super fucking evil and foreign. and basically they put the title on him. He beat the Ultimate Warrior in Royal Rumble 1991 for the WWF Championship.
Thanks to Macho Man.
Thanks to the Macho Man, which ties into another marquee match for WrestleMania 7, which we'll get to. So the whole event was the great American Hulk Hogan, who can't beat the Ultimate Warrior, who cannot rematch the Ultimate Warrior, is going to go after this Iraqi turncoat sympathizer, son of a bitch, Sergeant Slaughter, and he's your hero, and he's going to go do it. And then when the conflict basically ended at like the end of January, early February of 1991, they still weren't even close to Mania yet, so they had to continue this build.
They had to play it out.
Sergeant, yeah, they had to play it out. So that's the basic backdrop for this whole thing. Anything you want to add, Craig? Sorry, I didn't cut you off.
No, that was a perfect wrap up. It was, if you remember that this same year, and it wasn't a long conflict, but Operation Desert Shield, that first kind of Gulf War, it did not last long. It was quick, but American fervor was huge, and it was flags everywhere. And this was the year of Super Bowl 25. Laces Out Dan, Bills Giants, and
Laces
that
Out.
compelling Whitney Houston performance. So that's kind of known as the biggest kind of sports kind of themed plus Americana there is in live events. And so this was only just a couple months after the Super Bowl. There's still a lot of cleanup to do, but it was in effect over. And then wrestling, of course, has been built on these stereotypes and conflicts from the Nazis and Germans back in the day to the Dirty Russians so it's just another extension of that. But I think this did have some controversy, which we'll probably talk to a little bit down the road on, do you do an angle like this, starting it with an active war, and then could you do something kind of like this today? So, and there's so there were a lot of kind of plot lines and storylines just of the overall theme of what they did, and the big angle with Hogan. But that's
you could
watch
argue
this back, and
you can argue that they tried themes later and it backfired big time. They had to take some what was it, Muhammad Hassan comes to mind, and they had to pull that back quickly. I think you can't. I think we'll get into it at the end a little bit, but yeah, I think they did try it, Greg, to your point. You just can't do this shit anymore, man. You just can't.
Well,
do it.
and to the point of this, or the result of this pay-per-view, and just this whole push, this whole quarter of business that WWF was trying to push on us, like, it didn't work even here. And for many reasons. I think one, it was too close to home. People actually were shipped over and they were using the word war in the media, which scares people. So now they're not just playing off a Russian conflict or an Iran conflict or just, like the Iron Sheik back in the day or Nikolai Volkov or whatever. That's different. Like, I think Dave, maybe on a past episode, you said, yeah, that's legitly, that was just tensions. You could play off tensions and be fine. But when there's actual war or conflict, this is a little too close to home. And then on the wrestling front, I mean, Sergeant Slaughter was fucking over the hill, and bringing him in and just trying to turn him heel in a promotion that has really erased everything before Hulk Hogan. So from 84 on, it was Hulk Hogan is the greatest. Hulk Hogan is the only real American ever. Hulk Hogan will, lift your car up with his hands while he changes your tire with the other hand. Like, it's just that they've done so good that nobody really knew the history of Slaughter, even though we knew him as Mr. G.I. Joe. Like, we knew all that, but his history in the WWF was wiped away because since the Rockin' Era started, it was all Hogan, and Vince made damn sure to tell you that this is Hulk Hogan land. And this is, so from 84 to 91, it was Hulk Hogan, Hulk Hogan, Hulk Hogan. So then you bring this guy back and you try to play off, remember, he used to be a real American. He used to be a face. Actually, we don't, because you've spent the last 6 years telling us that nobody existed before Hogan. So it was just weird. Then he's got a big beer belly and he's bald, even though I know Hulk's bald, but he didn't have a beer belly at the time here and he was tan. So Slaughter comes back looking like my grandpa and just was in his Sergeant Slaughter garb. And I'm supposed to believe that he's a top heel. He beat the Warrior, even though we know Warrior cheated, but still, it doesn't matter. He beat the Warrior. And then, I doubted that Hogan was going to beat him at all coming into this event. Of course, I knew that. We all knew it. It just was sort of anticlimactic, I guess.
And let's be real. We'll get into the match briefly. I'd say stole the show. We'll talk about it in more detail, but we all know how Slaughter was able to obtain that title. And it leads to the Macho Warrior match because basically Macho King, people don't realize he's Macho King. He's not Macho Man. He has a crown. And guess what? He also has a scepter. And he literally hit Warrior right between the eyes with that scepter during the Slaughter Warrior title match. And that's how Sergeant Slaughter was able to win that title. And that's what leads to that retire, go home match between Macho King and the Ultimate Warrior, which I'd say probably one of the best matches Warrior's ever had, but we'll get into it. So, anything else before you guys want to run down the card?
No, I think that was pretty much it. Oh, also, the fucking venue. How can I forget that? So
there you go.
Since WrestleMania 6, they were running commercials saying WrestleMania 7 will be in the Los Angeles Memorial Coliseum, which can hold up to 100,000 people. And so that's a tall order. When they announced that the year before, in my mind, even as I think I was in junior high at this point, maybe just getting into my freshman year, I was like, oh, Hogan and Warrior are rematching. Like, that's, of course, they're doing it a year in advance. Like, yeah, I mean, who else is going to sell 100,000 tickets? I don't even know if they could. And so it was just sort of like, as you get closer, you realize, it's going to be Hogan and Slaughter. What is this? And then so they switched venues from the LA Coliseum to the LA Sports Arena, which was down the street in Los Angeles, that only holds 17,000 people. And they say it's for security purposes because we're in a conflict. Security, we could be a terrorist target, putting 100,000 people in a building.
Problem is the conflict was over, though.
Yeah, the conflict was over, and really, it was from soft ticket sales. From what I remember, what Dave Meltzer reported was that they only had sold 15 or 16,000 seats.
Yeah.
And at 2 months before Mania, the date where the event was supposed to take place, they'd only sold 15 or 16,000 in a 100,000 seat arena. You can't curtain off that many fucking seats in that arena. So they changed it to the LA Sports Arena because they had no choice. There's no way they weren't even going to come close. Even if you paper double, you're only going to get 30,000 people in a 100,000 seat venue. Not a good look for them. So Bruce Pritchard even said on his podcast that it was really for both. It was because ticket sales were awful, and because even if we sold out the LA Coliseum, there was no way that we could put the security that was being called for at the time because of the conflict, which I think is bullshit. It's all ticket sales, right? That's my opinion.
You got a lot of the extra security at big events, but they were not willing to help us. They were not willing to pay that. And the cost to secure that facility and to secure that area would have far outweighed anything that we possibly could have drawn. And the thought of drawing 100,000 people to that event, at that point, that wasn't going to happen either.
Come on. Of course.
If you're only at 15,000 to go with
2
either
months
a month,
before,
that's a big problem.
You can't give that many tickets away.
you can't paper even if they put 60 or 70,000 in there, they could make it look full, you know.
Sure.
But you can't paper. You're not going to paper 40,000 seats.
No. Fantastic. So, what was the attendance in that?
It was like just over 16,000, which was pretty much capacity for the LA Sports Arena. Dave Meltzer also reported that when they switched the venue, no refunds were given, which means they didn't even at the time.
They didn't have to.
Yeah, they didn't have to. So basically, they put it in the LA Sports Arena. They already had 15,000 seats sold, and they just sold the other 1,000 or whatever.
Yeah, that's all they did. And there is a spot in here, I don't know if it's true, where Gorilla Monsoon actually says this is the highest the highest amount of pay-per-views ever for a pay-per-view event. I don't know.
He must have a secret I didn't know about.
Exactly. How do you even fucking know that the day of?
I think they were in more countries at this point. And that's what he was trying to say. It's the most watched WrestleMania as far as like now we're in even more countries than we ever were before.
Only that's not what he said. It's probably what.
Yeah, you're right. No, you're right.
It's what Vince made him say, quite frankly. So
say it.
I'm sure. Speaking of the announcers, as we get into it quickly before we get to the card because we got some time. It was very interesting to have announcers change throughout because Bobby had actual matches to attend because Bobby Heenan and Gorilla, as we all know, is some of the best commentary crew together.
Well, and even to touch on that real quick, this was the first WrestleMania without Jesse Ventura.
Yeah.
So it was this whole Mania was a different feel in a weird way from the previous ones. Go ahead. But
yeah,
I just figured I'd say that because that's why like Gorilla Monsoon didn't have Ventura.
So you almost feel like they're trying out some people at a WrestleMania, which is kind of weird anyway. But Hacksaw actually commentates the first match with Gorilla, and then Bobby comes in, and then it's I think Alfred Hayes comes in when Bobby has to go to his next match with Mr. Perfect. So it's almost like they were trying it out, but Bobby actually became that mainstay of commentary for some time after.
Yeah, it was wacky, and I think it's because Bobby Heenan was the manager in the opener.
Exactly, and he was the manager
I watched it back again, and then when you hear Hacksaw's music, and I was in my head, I was like, Hacksaw gets the opening match of WrestleMania 7? Like, that's putting on a little fit. There was so much USA in a flag, and then to have Hacksaw come out first, and I was like, what is happening? And then you see Hacksaw, and even it's still as bad. He's in like an American flag top hat and an American flag shiny jacket.
He's overdone
and it's like, what is happening? Like, I completely forgot about this.
Hogan has always scooped Hacksaw's heat when it comes. Hacksaw was the only one that always talked about the flag, always carried it down to the ring. But when they wanted to put the American flag on Hulk, it became Hulk. Hulk carries the flag. But poor Hacksaw would literally like wear USA socks.
I carried it 90% of the time, Hogan. But
yeah, carried the flag everywhere, whatever. It was, I love the USA, tough guy, and all that stuff. But Vince was just like, no, Hogan's our guy.
No, it's okay, Terry. I've just been doing it my whole career. It's fine. You love the USA more. Okay, it's fine.
That's phenomenal. Man. That's great. So let's jump into it. You want to go down the card first, Jess? How you want to
we'll go. The first match, the opener, was a barn burner of a tag team. It was the Rockers, Marty Jannetty and Shawn Michaels. They defeated the Barbarian and Haku with Bobby Heenan in their corner. It was a 10-minute and 33-second match to open the pay-per-view. I also want to say, too, as I go through the matches, I'll ask you guys, does it deserve a thumbs up, a thumbs in the middle, or a thumbs down? And you could, based on whatever criteria you want, crowd response, which we actually talked about it before the mics went live here. This crowd was fucking loud as shit. This crowd was hot for this Mania. They were a great crowd.
There's only one match where they were really cooled, and it was after Hogan and Warrior, so I can't even remember which match it was. It didn't matter. It was like the ultimate cool down match anyway. It was like the perfect match to cool down on. I'm sure we'll get to it. But that was the only time they were quiet because they were exhausted after after Macho and Warrior. So they were a great crowd. Some of the best I'd ever seen throughout.
And I think that the Rockers were sort of in a weird purgatory here because they didn't break up until the beginning of 92. So about 10 months later is when they broke up. So I remember the Rockers as a fan just kind of like they were just in limbo at this point. And then they really didn't start teasing the split up until late 91. So here they just legitimately wrestled a tag match and won, like against Bobby Heenan's guys. Like, good match. I like this match a lot for an opener, and the Rockers kept the crowd into it, and Barbarian and Haku did their, and it's funny, I look at the Barbarian and Haku here because they were so differently dressed, but then I forgot they went on to become the faces of fear in WCW, Ming and the Barbarian in the Nitro era, and they would fucking do crazy shit. They were so stiff and awesome in the Nitro era. I just forgot about that. And when I watched this match, I was like, oh shit, they were the faces of fear. How do I not remember that? Like, I remember it, but you know what I mean? Like, I totally forgot that they teamed even way back here in 91. They were part of the Heenan stable. Weird.
And one thing that I noticed too about the match, and I briefly brought this up before we got online, but I think that Michaels controlled a very huge part of that match, if not most of it, not even all of it. You see it when Jannetty gets hit onto the ropes and hits his neck on the ropes. They pick him up and they drop him. Michael sees the cue, calls it out, comes into the ring to distract the ref specifically so they can double team Jannetty into the ropes. All those big moves, all those big moments were all controlled by Michaels. The finishing sequences, everything. You can see Michaels has the gift, for the art of the story. Even here, I know, Jess. I know you can't stand it, but this is probably why he got to where he was. I love Haku. Haku, I know, is that natural strong guy. Break your hand with one handshake. He's awesome. People love Haku / Ming. He's a legitimate tough guy. But they can't control a match. And he had to help them control both sides of it. So you got to give him credit, and you can see it even when he's really young here. But this is why he was split off. 10 months later, they saw something in him, obviously, and you can see it even here. I know. I'm not a big fan of him either, but you can't deny the ring work, man. You can't deny the control.
Some say
their promos were terrible. They could do a promo before they go out, and I just forget how bad and generic. Like, it was just Marty says something cool, rock and roll strut show. Cut to Sean, says same thing but weirdly different, and then but they almost don't sell their own promo. In like, I almost knew how ridiculous it was, or they were mad at each other. There's just a certain vibe with them here.
It's hard to tell.
But to Jess's point, the crowd is so hot. They're popping for everything, and it's amazing to see. I just forgot.
They pop for kip ups,
referring,
man.
of course, to the mere size of your opponents here at Wrestlemania, Haku and the Barbarian, whose sheer force is unmatched in WWF tag team history.
Well, there's no doubt about it. They're a couple of big dudes. They're pretty big and strong, but the Rockers, since the beginning of time, have been defying odds, and this will be no different. And remember one thing, we are tag team specialists.
Well, you are indeed tag team specialists, but may I remind you that Haku and the Barbarian are not exactly strangers to one another. They are members of the Heenan family.
I got news for you. Barbarian and Haku, there's no doubt you are two of the biggest and the baddest in the World Wrestling Federation. But what's it going to make the Rockers when we put you away? Because that's exactly what's going to happen. Wrestlemania 7, the Rockers are going to do like they always do, turn heads, turn on crowds, and come out on top. Woo!
Rockers ready to rock.
Yeah.
Haku and the
So
Barbarian.
I give the match a thumbs up because I thought it was a good opener and it fit the crowd. Dave, what do you think?
Thumbs up, man. It was hot. It was hot all the way through. Kept the crowd's attention and got the crowd rolling right away. Set the tone.
Thumbs down for Michaels. Duly noted, Dave. Thank you for saying that. Craig, what do you think? What do you give this match?
Thumbs up. And it was a good. I was about to just say earlier, everyone is huge. All the guys are so big back here. Even Haku's got huge traps and bodies. Yeah. Just to see the Barbarian and Haku.
Barbarian's a big human being.
And all of them, throughout the rest of the card, is just how shocked, how jacked everyone is. It was cool to see. Yeah. It was a great opener.
Yeah.
Now we roll into our second match. So all three of us unanimously give that a thumbs up match or thumbs up rating. The second match is the Texas Tornado, Kerry Von Erich. He defeated Dino Bravo with Jimmy Hart in a singles match in 3 minutes and 11 seconds. I don't want to say anything about this match. It was just a filler. This pay-per-view has 14 matches on it, by the way.
Yeah.
So there was a lot of filler here. Like there was back here, WrestleMania was kind of known for that, like 12, 14 matches. And they would just throw two athletes together with really no previous feud or anything.
This is really, I think this is a tester for Kerry Von Erich more than anything to see how the crowd responds. And the thing about Kerry Von Erich is, I know it sounds stupid, but it matters. Kerry Von Erich has a tremendous physique. He looks great. He's going to appeal to the audience, especially the ladies in this particular realm. And I think it's really just to see what he can do on some of the bigger stages. Quite frankly, Kerry Von Erich was much to be. There should have been way more for him. Not in the way of like they should have given him more. He should have done more. He had the ability to do something great. And honestly, maybe he felt it, and the backstory of Kerry Von Erich is extremely tragic, but I really felt he was more than what he would give out on those nights. When you see that match, it's a prime example of that. I don't know.
Yeah, I feel that the demons were haunting him here, and I think Vince, because of his body, always wanted to try to hope that he would straighten himself up. So Vince kind of did for a while, keep him out here. Keep in mind, this was after he lost the IC title to Mr. Perfect like 2 or 3 months before, and I think Vince really wanted to keep him in the mix of it, but unfortunately, I don't think Kerry could get out of his own way. I'll give my rating. It was thumbs down. The match was terrible.
It's a
thumbs down here. He fights with his jacket half the match. It's
right. So weird.
It's a bit sad.
Yeah.
They're just clunky together.
The backstories of these guys are more tremendous in this match, quite frankly. And briefly, Kerry Von Erich wrestles with basically half a foot for prime of his career because he loses it in a motorcycle accident. A lot of people don't know that boot is half not his foot, and he's still able to do tremendous things in there. But I think he can do more than a tornado punch and a claw, quite frankly. And then Dino Bravo, the backstory on him is just, it's fascinating and tragic with basically what Canadian Mafia taking.
I think it was over cigarettes.
Over smuggled
illegal
cigarettes.
cigarette trade.
Or tobacco or some shit.
And they killed him over it in his own house. I mean, it's just so tragic. I mean, the backstories here are way more compelling of a story, but incredibly tragic. And then Kerry Von Erich obviously takes his own life sometime later. It's just, I can't even get over the stories these guys had. Like you said, what they must have been wrestling with outside of the ring is way more of a story that we would love to get into, I'm sure, eventually. But total horrible match, thumbs down, not a barn burner.
So you gave it a thumbs down too, right, Greg?
Yeah.
So all three, we all said thumbs up the first match, all thumbs down for the second. Dave gives another thumbs down for Michaels. Okay, next match.
There you go.
The next match is the British Bulldog Davey Boy Smith defeated the Warlord with his patented power slam in 8 minutes and 15 seconds. I said it in the Bulldog episode. This match was decent, and I really got the feeling, even the young Jess, the junior high Jess, that this was Vince's way of pace, like putting him in a match that he has to pace, a typical strong guy versus strong guy match, the you can't break my full Nelson shit. And Bulldog passed the test, and they just did basic shit in this match. But the crowd being so loud and really loving the Bulldog, you felt that Vince needed him to beat this monster, put him in his power slam, beat him or whatever, definitively in the middle of the ring, and he did, and the place went nuts. I felt that this was a major positive for Bulldog stock.
They went
at
nuts.
The time.
They went nuts the entire time. They went nuts when he was breaking out of the Nelson, when he was breaking out of the bear hug.
Which, I mean, yes, it's a great crowd, but I mean, Bulldog did it. He felt the crowd out. You can say what you want about what some past people have said about Bulldog and the way he kind of has his head in the match, but Bulldog was super focused here. And I'm not saying the Warlord is some schlub. Honestly, I'm not. I mean, I know it's easy to say that because he was just a big guy, but I mean, they both did what they had to do, and Bulldog controlled the pace. It was just a basic good guy, like I said, and bad guy match, and it was nice. It was very nice and smooth.
So, Craig, you're a Bulldog guy. Where were the dreadlocks all about and the beads? What was going on there?
I didn't remember he got them this early. That was kind of surprising. I don't know.
Not sure
I think he grew his hair long when he was gone, and then when he came back in late 1990, he had him, and it was already beat. So I think it was just to change him up so he wasn't looking like one half of the British Bulldog tag team when he came back.
I mean, we were all wearing dreads at this point in 91. I know I was.
Totally.
They have dreads.
And by the way, you think the Warlord was jacked? Davey Boy was probably in the prime physical peak of his career. Oh my God.
Yeah. The match.
I know you gotta have assistance, but Warlord was legitly 6'7", 6'8", and probably 320 pounds of solid muscle.
They called him 321 or 328.
And Bulldog seriously just put him on his fucking shoulder and walked around the ring for a second, and that's fucking.
Not only did he get him on his shoulder, but he's like, oh, I think I'll take him over here, and then he's like, no, I'll take him over here.
I was like, oh no, fuck.
I was like, where's he? Is he trying to find the hard?
Where's the hard camera? Where's the hard camera?
Yeah, I was totally amazed by he had that kind of strength to hold him for that long. It's phenomenal.
So Craig, I give it a thumb. Oh, sorry, Craig, go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah, I give it thumbs up. What I give thumbs down is they both do promos before the match, and they literally burned, not kidding, 10 or 12 dog puns, every dog has its day.
That's right, yeah.
And Slick says, I can't remember. It was
I'm going to put this dog down or whatever like this. Yeah, you're right. Yeah.
Brother, did you say claim? Hey, how about guaranteed? Take a look at this man. It takes more than one dog to put this man down. It takes a whole pack of dogs. So, David Boy Smith, you get ready to pack it in because you're about to be fixed, brother. Because every dog knows that when you gotta go, you gotta go.
There's no wrestler that has escaped my full Nelson. And you, Davey boy, will be no exception to that rule.
Oh, Davey boy, remember, it's a dog-eat-dog world. So you be prepared. You're about to be devoured.
I'll give it a thumbs middle because I got ups and downs on it too. I'll give it a thumbs middle because while the crowd was hot for it, it was great for strongman versus strongman. I never want to see a strongman versus strong match again. And also, he about killed that dog when he brought her up on his shoulders at the end, making that dog wave around. They were so mean to that dog, Craig.
Yeah, he did.
The dog was abused.
I'll give it a thumbs. I'll give it a thumbs up because I thought I liked it for what it was. It was just meant to be what it was, and it was really to see if Bulldog could pass that test with the crowd and hold them.
Oh, he did,
and get a
without a doubt.
Big pop, and he did. So I give him a thumbs up. So
Who
Craig and I
doesn't love
thumbs
the
up.
Bulldog? Come on,
Dave thumbs in the middle, a thumbs down for you know who. So now next we're gonna go to the Nasty Boys. Brian Knobbs and Jerry Staggs with Jimmy Hart in the corner defeated the Hart Foundation to win the WWF Tag Team Championships. Obviously, this match in 12 minutes and 10 seconds.
Can someone tell me?
What it was.
Can someone tell me the fascination with the fucking Nasty Boys? I don't.
I like
I've
the
never
Nasty Boys.
I know
Calm
you do.
down.
I've never understood it. They do
Calm it
nothing
down.
for me. Nothing.
They were almost also my choice for the Guilty Pleasure episode we did.
That makes sense. That makes sense. Oh God.
They are super sloppy in the ring. I get it. Everybody.
I'm surprised
down.
they didn't kill somebody.
Okay, Dave.
They were body guys. They looked really good. They were all kind of cut.
They were
sugar cardio.
They were chiseled, bro.
You know, honestly, it's because they would get in there, and WWF really wasn't the land of it. So I'm surprised they either won the titles in WWF, and then also they lasted as long as they did. But because in WCW they made sense. They're like, Steiner Brothers want to drop us on our head, fine.
Yeah.
Like, but they would get in there and throw it back, like they didn't care. That's
They
why
were
I loved them.
They were the definition of laying it in, and I understand that. And you even saw so when Bret Hart would wrestle them, and Hart Finish would wrestle them, like Bret punched him square in the face a couple of times in that match. Like he didn't hold back.
Nasties don't give a shit. And
Like,
later on in
do
'93,
it. Yeah.
I remember Craig would almost faint on a lot of the matches where it was Nasties against Cactus Jack and Max Payne, or
So
Cactus
bad.
Jack and Kevin Sullivan. We just knew, like, fuck, Nasties don't care. They don't care if they fall on their own head. And then you get Cactus in there. There were so many times where Craig's like, whoa, whoa, like every single, like, we're just, oh, like, what? He hit him with what now? Like, and it's just, they did not care. Remember the front suplex that I think Knobbs took, and he dislocated his shoulder?
Yeah.
Like, it was
You
crazy.
got to admire the craziness, I guess. But I
Nasties
just
didn't care.
The ability for me wasn't there. I don't think they ever controlled a match. I don't think they whatever you want to do. It's kind of like I think that's their philosophy.
I thought they were on their best behavior here. I was surprised of how well they like flow together, remembering all the Nasty Boys matches post this.
Yeah.
And I didn't know whether that was a respect for the Hearts or whether that was the Hearts giving it right back to them. But that's interesting that you had perspective that they were super stiff with each other, and because I found that they
Brett
worked
fucking
well, and I
laid
thought
him
that was
out
because of Heart Foundation.
Yeah, Brett laid out one of them right in the beginning, punched him right in the mouth, and he flew out of the ring. He knew it was coming, but like he did not pull that punch. I was like, Jesus,
Settle down, Knob. Settle down.
And then for
See,
no
see,
reason, maybe they did this.
Well, to your point, they're winning the title, so they better take their comeuppance, right? Yeah.
Oh my God. Stop it. Damn it, I can't breathe. So yeah, and then also maybe he was doing this a couple weeks leading in on TV, but Jimmy Hart comes out of nowhere with a goddamn helmet, like for no reason. And
You
like
all know what's coming.
It's like, can you telegraph that? Like when he wore it down, he might as well just look at the camera and said, "This is why they're gonna win, baby!" Ah! Like, I mean, it's like you totally saw it coming. Like,
I ride a motorcycle, baby. No, look at that.
All of a sudden, I just invested in a motorcycle, baby. Like, and then after that, I swear he never wore the helmet after they won the titles here. So, but I mean, I know we're running long.
It would have been so fucking funny if he came down in a fucking little scooter or something with that helmet on for the Nasty Boys.
But I give this match thumbs in the middle. I probably should say thumbs down, but thumbs in the middle because Brett's involved, and Brett made sure he never had a shit match, like at least with anybody.
I agree.
And
with that.
it was just completely designed for the Hearts to lose the titles, and then we know what Brett would go on to do after that shortly. So I give it a thumbs in the middle.
Thumbs middle is good for me. I'm with it.
I gave it thumbs in the middle. Also, this was Neidhart's last WrestleMania. Just
Yes.
FYI.
Oh, damn.
And a shot of Macaulay Culkin in the crowd, who's still a fan today.
That's
all.
right.
He is. That's true.
Yeah. But not a fan of Goldberg, apparently. So fantastic.
Yeah, not at all. So the next
Good
match
stuff.
is a blindfold match with Jake the Snake Roberts.
Thumbs
against
down.
Rick
Let's
the
move on,
Martel.
please. Jesus Christ.
8 minutes and 34 seconds.
That's too fucking long.
Yeah,
Oh, my God.
You know, this was the whole thing where like months before, I think it was like October of 90, Model sprayed his arrogance in Jake's eyes by accident, blinding Jake. Jake would wear a white contact a lot.
I'm blind.
As Craig pointed out, he wore Bill Cosby sweater at one point in time. Jake Roberts did. He just wore this ridiculous sweater, which is apparently 1991.
A Cosby sweater.
And so
the
that
superstars after he got blinded, he wears a nice Cosby sweater. Just it's in
and
the,
so that's
you wanna
why
look it
that's
up,
why
yeah.
this was a blindfold match, because he was like, "You want to try being blind, model? Let's be blind my way." I can't do a Jake promo, but that was like the whole thing.
Pretty
So
good.
it was like a 4 or 5 month feud where finally Jake got both his eyeballs back. He had an eye transplant or some shit. I don't remember. So he challenged him to a blindfold match because I had to live in darkness, model. Like, so it was the whole thing. And if this crowd wasn't live as they were, this match would have sucked like really bad. So they put black sacks over their head, which you could totally see the outline of their face. So
you could see
they
right through when the lights hit them.
Especially when the moisture from their mouth, like the condensation from their mouth, it made the bag almost clearer. And so like you knew like they could totally see through the bag right now. But great psychology on Jake's part, to be quite honest, just getting the crowd involved and pointing and the whole thing. It was super dumb and deliberate or whatever. He ends up nailing the DDT, which is what everybody wanted anyway. And which pretty much ended the feud. So Jake wins the feud.
Jake found him. DDT got him. But can he find him to cover him? See? He can't find him. All he's got to do is reach around. There he is. Oh, no. What a tremendous matchup.
It would have been better as a squash match, honestly.
But yeah, it was a thumbs down for me because
down.
like I admire it was very ambitious, but total thumbs down. It just
totally agree.
thumbs
We've already
Thumbs down,
wasn't
A for
into
effort. Build up was good, but it's
we
just,
already spent too much time on this. Thumbs down.
Yes, we did. So the next match I don't want to talk about because it was so terrible. Was the Undertaker defeating Jimmy Snuka. Undertaker being the hot new guy that's coming in the promotion. They didn't know it back at the time, but this match started the streak. He defeated Jimmy Superfly Snuka. It was 4 minutes and 20 seconds. Undertaker botched the finish. That would not fly today. This match is awful and thumbs down to me. But like I get it.
I think there's
the
a
guy.
I think you talked about our title. This could be another match for the title of Oil and Water. It just doesn't work. And Snuka's had some great matches with people, but this is definitely not one of them. It just
maybe it was
It's a
Snuka.
test.
Snuka was supposed to springboard from the apron into the ring using the top rope, and Undertaker catching him, throwing him up into the tombstone and hitting it. But Undertaker caught him and didn't catch him high enough, so he put him down. And then you could tell he was like, shit. And then he punched Snuka a couple times, then picked him up and tombstoned him. I don't think that was Snuka's fault. I could be wrong. I don't know why Undertaker didn't get lower. Undertaker knew the spot was coming. So why Undertaker didn't bend his knees and get under Snuka to catch him, to muscle him up, I don't know why. And maybe it wasn't Taker's fault. Maybe it was Snuka, because Snuka didn't really jump super
It could
high.
be a timing issue. Taker's young here.
But
He's a
yeah,
young guy.
nowadays that happens. Like, Vince is in the back. He's shitting on Ricochet, he's shitting on everybody else. And Ricochet didn't even fuck up. He's been awesome in there physically, ring wise. So it's
All
like,
right,
if anybody did this now, if anybody botched the finish now, Vince would be like, I've lost my interest or whatever.
It's like Chris
But
Masters,
Undertaker-
man. Chris Masters
Yeah.
botched the finish, got buried.
He fucking he started the streak here. So the match is important for that. But like this match was fucking garbage. It was thumbs down for me.
Thumbs down.
thumbs down. It was so bad that Jimmy Snuka murdered a guy.
Oh, damn. I was wondering if it was
years before he did, like because he knew. But
He just knew
I'm
how
gonna
bad
have
this would be.
I'm gonna have a stinker of a match at WrestleMania 7. But
next, just
so
go.
next
Just go.
next
My
is
bad.
probably
Sorry.
next is the absolute. Next is the worst match on the card. The Ultimate Warrior defeated the Macho Man Randy
Shut
Savage.
up!
Here.
Oh
Am I
my
right?
god, you're such a douche.
in 20 minutes and 47 seconds. In all honesty, not just the best match on the card, but easily the best match in the Warriors' career. Like this match was fantastic, and just the drama and everything, the play with Elizabeth, like everything was just fantastic. I love this match. What am I going to say?
Can I say that everything that Sherry did was fucking fantastic?
She's fantastic.
I miss Sherry. She's the best. Like talk about she's like, no, I don't want you to hold back. Like Warrior pushed her to the ground so hard in that match. I was like, oh, my wife was watching
from the mouth by the end of it.
Yeah,
like
that's what I'm saying.
But then still had enough, and then her kicks to Savage after she attacked him. Just everything she did was pitch perfect. I love her to death.
And you see her at the end. She can tell she's ragged. She's tired. Her hair's a mess. Her dress has been coming off in layers the entire time. And you're like, man, Sherry looks wrecked. And I'm like, yeah, because she fucking put work in, bro. Like she put in work. And she did that every time she was out there, in my opinion. I love Sherry for that. And I always thought she brought such great storyline to a match whenever she was out there, in my opinion. She's a big part of that.
And again, you say what you want about the Warrior, but it does take two to tango, just to be short and brief about it. And they both did really good. And Macho Man does obsess about matches like this and invites them over to his house, and they choreograph it and go over and over it. But that's fine. You want to deliver a product like this to me? Fuck it. I don't care if he spends a week at your house to get it right. Like this shit hit a home run. Everything about it, not just the match was good and the pacing and the false finishes, but the Elizabeth, being in the crowd and you hadn't seen her for months, and just when she comes in, the hug with her and Savage, like legitly, like people were crying in the audience, like they were crying.
They panned several people crying.
It's like, this storyline since '85 that they had invested in, and it was
the ultimate soap opera for wrestling fans. Was this whole story with Macho and Elizabeth? It was phenomenal, and this was the epic ending to it, where they're supposed to ride off into the sunset together.
Was this the first kind of moment that you saw shots in the crowd of women crying?
Yeah,
this
to me
might be like a romantic. This is the first like, women crying.
It was a big deal.
It was super nicely done. I can probably speak for both of you and say a thumbs up from everybody.
This is sickening. Elizabeth with her arms outstretched. Tears flowing down. Yeah. Look around. Everybody behind us in the whole ringside area crying.
Great match, great timing, great storytelling, fantastic finish, and fantastic finish after the finish with Elizabeth and Macho. If I wanted to nitpick, I think I hated the fact that Macho elbowed him 5 times.
I purposely avoided that because I will go nuts, and I can't go nuts right now. I have to go to the next match.
Yeah, that's the only thing I nitpick. But
the next match is a absolute throwaway match, and this tag team Demolition is the shell of who they used to be.
Cool off match by
Crush
definition.
and Smash, Crush and Smash lost to Tenryu and Katayo. They're two well-known stars.
Yeah.
And WWF was doing a partnership over in Japan, I think with the SWF or whatever it was. We've talked about it in past things. They were doing like a joint Japan tour, and they were trying to launch a new promotion out there. So that's why they did this or whatever.
Well, this puts them on the card. It puts them in a spot that doesn't hurt them. And they're testing Crush right now, which was an epic failure in hindsight.
It was they were done. Axe was long gone. This was actually Demolition's last pay-per-view match.
That's what I'm saying. They're trying to see if it's going to work, but it's already not working. So when you put this in this match and you put them with these guys, you can tell the crowd is not invested and they're exhausted. So you have to cool it off before you get to where you're trying to go. And
match was
thumbs down for me.
Match was a pile of shit. Thumbs down.
But if you call it for a cool off, I call it
thumbs up. Best of the
night. It's a thumbs up for cool off, but it's a thumbs down for everything else.
I don't even know if it's thumbs up for cool off. It was everyone was fat and sloppy in it. So
all true.
It's true. The next is the Big Boss Man defeated the Intercontinental Champion, Mr. Perfect, Kurt Hennig, with Heenan in his corner by DQ in 10 minutes and 46 seconds. Andre makes an appearance looking awfully sad on the arm crutches. I don't even know why they would put Andre out there and make him vulnerable like this. It makes no sense.
I think it's to give him a payday.
It was to give the Boss Man the rub and all that stuff too. But I get it. And you know what? I know Mr. Perfect and Boss Man were very friendly behind the scenes. They really liked each other. But this this match didn't gel for me, and like the feud was kind of pointless, and I really hated this Intercontinental title defense, to be honest. I thought it was a waste of Mr. Perfect's talents. You know, you have the Warrior and Savage steal the card, and that's fine, but you have this amazing worker, Mr. Perfect, with the worker's belt, and you didn't do shit with him, and you just kind of had him have a match with the Boss Man, and Andre hobbles down, and everyone pretended they were afraid of him, and like it was bad. I didn't. I
wonder to your point if they expected more with Kerry Von Erich here with Perfect, and it just didn't mesh out, and they went to another.
I'm convinced that in the back they just said, "Hey, Mr. Perfect, can you do all your signature bumps for Boss Man?" And he was like, "Sure." I mean, it was like a Superstars of Wrestling match or a Saturday Night's Main Event match. Like it didn't belong in WrestleMania. It was thumbs down for me. I was totally bored.
It's a thumbs down for me too, because no title match should ever end in a DQ at WrestleMania, and I think we've learned that lesson.
Yeah.
It was thumbs down. Biggest disappointment. It should have been incredible, and it just wasn't. There's just too much going on, and sadness with Andre and the interference and the DQ, and them just not putting on a great match because they're both, everything they do is great. Typically,
Andre couldn't even get into the ring to help Boss Man out. He had to fight everybody from the floor. He couldn't even get in there. It's just sad, man.
It was terrible. The next match is Earthquake with Jimmy Hart defeated Greg Valentine. 3 minutes 14 seconds. Another shit throwaway match.
I feel like they're building. When did Earthquake wrestle Hogan for the title? That was at SummerSlam.
It wasn't for the title. It was like for 6 months before at SummerSlam. So it was already over at this point.
Oh, okay. So
his feud, they were basically getting him. I would say 3 or 4 months later, he joined with Typhoon, and they made.
That's where it is. Okay, and then they get the tag titles there. So
can we say thumbs down on this?
Thumbs down. But did you guys hear the rumor that Sergeant Slaughter originally the plan was to be like Tugboat Chic and to have Tugboat turn?
Yes,
that's crazy to me.
Yeah,
I love it.
I don't know.
I love that idea.
I saw that.
I wish that happened now. Actually, that would have been great.
In an odd way, I kind of do too.
Good old Ottman, bro.
The next match is the Legion of Doom, Animal and Hawk defeating Power and Glory in 59 fucking seconds.
Fucking squash, man.
Squash match for no reason. Like
it was just to get him out there. It was just to get Legion of Doom out there.
Vince brought LOD in the summer of 1990, and here we are in March of 91, and he's still not putting the titles on them and not knowing what the fuck to do with them. I mean, eventually 4 months later, they would beat the Nasty Boys at SummerSlam 91 to win the titles finally, but they were literally in the promotion for a full year before Vince put the titles on arguably the most famous tag team ever. The Legion of Doom. I don't get it. Like why put them on there to squash Power and Glory?
You know what most people are going to say. They get a huge pop. They get a great reaction. People love seeing them, and they didn't need the titles. That's what every WWE hard dick is going to say. They didn't need it. Okay, Bruce, thanks.
Yeah,
but
this match was shit. Thumbs down.
I will give it a thumbs middle. only because
they all walked out.
Because Paul Roma took the Doomsday device. Like a champ.
Dude, did you see how he protected himself too? He rolled
Hercules
over
is like, I'm not taking that shit. I'm not doing that.
But
you go ahead and do that.
But at the same time,
you're the bumper of this tandem.
If you're looking to get the crowd back into it just before the matches are going to be final in, Legion of Doom is going to do that for you. They got to pop just for showing up, and I think it's perfect. It's perfectly timed into it, and it gets the crowd right back where you need to be for your main event. It's a thumbs middle, but the match itself, it could have been so much better. I personally think that they probably had a time issue and they had to squash it. I think it was supposed to go longer, quite frankly. It could have.
Craig, what do you think?
I don't hate that theory, Dave. I'll give it thumbs down though.
Don't try to make Dave feel better on that one. It's ridiculous. Thumbs down, ridiculous. The next match is Virgil with Rowdy Piper in his corner defeating Ted DiBiase by count out. 7 minutes 41 seconds. Let me say, this is just my opinion. I'm gonna lead off with my rating. Total thumbs up. I love this fucking storyline, and the way Virgil turned in 90 at the Royal Rumble that 3 months before. I know they kind of played on the whole, Virgil was kind of his slavish thing, and they did all that. But I love Piper being in there. I love Piper hyping him up, and you're a man, Virgil, which is kind of, when you look at it, it's just so over the top and ridiculous. And you spell man, VIRGIL, and the whole thing. But Piper knew what he was doing on the mic. DiBiase's a fucking national treasure.
tell DiBiase, how do you spell man? At WrestleMania, DiBiase, you spell man. V-I-R-T-I-L. Tell me, how do you feel? I feel like a baby fuck. Hey, DiBiase, from WrestleMania.
This is when Sherry runs down to the ring and aligns herself with DiBiase. I want to say at the end or the middle of this match.
Towards the end. And
Yeah,
like a
because-
wedding dress, which is very strange.
That's what she had left.
Yeah, right. So I loved it, and I know people can say what they want about Virgil, but they did it. The storyline to me was good and strong coming in. People wanted to see Virgil win. It was a count out because they didn't want to hurt DiBiase, and that's fine to me. Like it was nicely for what it was. I give it a thumbs up. I enjoyed it because I thought that DiBiase is a genius here, carrying Virgil to this kind of match, even though it was only 7 minutes long. Piper on the outside did enough distracting to hide Virgil's greenness in the ring, and I thought it was really good. I think it did what it was supposed to do.
Yeah. Thumbs up for the storyline. Thumbs down for the match.
Yeah, I'll give it thumbs in the middle. I thought the build up was good. It was good to see Virgil. I know you can't bury DiBiase, but like he gave how long was it? 3 years or 2.5 years of Virgil being the guy. Like let him have the solid win. But
Yeah.
but he wasn't great. But Piper's the best. And then not only did Piper train Virgil, they did this thing at the end after Piper was beaten down where Virgil but he kind of screwed it up where Piper does his awesome.
That's right.
He says, do what you tell me, get up, but he just didn't do it very well.
Yeah.
But DiBiase was
He's like, come on, man, I'm gonna get up on my crutches, man. Like,
Everything Piper goes up. Wow. Yeah.
Oh, man, you're right, man. You got me on that one.
I got in a motorcycle accident.
You're fucking smart, buddy. You're so fucking smart, big guy. Turn my words around on me. Turn my words around on me, you son of a bitch. I love you.
I get it because I told you to be a man, but you're telling me to be a man. I'm gonna stand up now.
This whole time I'm making you a man and I'm not being a man, and you're telling me be a man. I'm like, I got it. Nah, fuck away.
We're both learning lessons now. Our Piper becomes like Jimmy Stewart.
Both learning lessons. It doesn't matter the color of our skin, man. Both learning lessons. That's the thing. WrestleMania, everybody. Like, fucking. That's why I give it a thumbs up. That's why.
You know what? I changed my vote to a thumbs up.
There's
so many layered messages in this.
I will change it to a thumbs up if we could move on.
Oh, god damn it. Oh. So the next match is the Mountie with Jimmy Hart defeating Tito Santana in 1:21 seconds.
Why?
Do I have to say thumbs down because it was fucking garbage as well? Thank you for shitting on Tito Santana, and the Mountie was new. Like he was a new character. Everybody.
I feel like they crapped on Tito every chance they possibly could. Period.
And everybody knows the Mountie wasn't anything until he actually came out to "I'm the Mountie" theme song that he sung. Here he had this shitty like burr, 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 like the ridiculous like Mountie music. Yeah, it was awful. So
someone must have made that suggestion to be like, you know what that song needs? You sing it.
Yeah, you fucking singing that you're the Mountie, which is fantastic. Like,
I'm sure it was Jimmy Hart. Jimmy Hart's a genius.
And afterwards, like when that happened, he really got into the Mountie character. Come on, baby, you gotta put words to it, baby.
You sing it. That's gonna sound good, baby.
And Piper's like, you know what? You know what? Virgil taught me be a man and put the theme song.
I know you can't sing. I can't sing, man. You just sing it. Give it your all, man.
Give it your all. Come on, man. Both feet forward. Come on, man.
Let's get to the main event. This has gone on too long.
Piper singing.
We try to keep these under 30 minutes. It's not flying.
The fucking 14th match is Hulk Hogan defeating Sergeant Slaughter for the World Wrestling Federation Heavyweight Championship in 20 goddamn minutes and 26 seconds.
That is too fucking long, bro.
And they made the LOD and Power and Glory match a squash match. Maybe this should have been the squash match. Jesus Christ. Now, there were some highlights in here. Obviously, the whole thing leading into it was America's going to win and go over, and Hulk would win his third WWF championship here.
Wow.
And he bled. And this was one of the famous moments where Craig and I were fascinated to no fucking end with the way they did the blade job here. Really quick, He has the blade in his hands. Slaughter hits him in the face with the chair. Hogan's laying with his head on the middle rope, facing outside the ring. Slaughter is walking on the outside of the ring, hits him in the face with the chair. With his fall, Hogan drapes his fist over his head with the razor blade in it, cuts his head, leaves the razor on the mat. When Slaughter gets in the ring to go for the cover, the ref gets down to count, grabs the blade, puts it in his pocket, and then counts the 2 count. Hulk kicks out, gets up bleeding. It's fucking genius. It's great. Like, it's total sleight of hand. Like, it's fantastic.
How many rewinds and pauses and pauses did we do on the Hogan fallback where he brushed his hand?
With the way his body fell, it wasn't unnatural. He fell, and it looked natural, like he draped his hand across his head as he fell, but he cut his fucking forehead in one try. And, like, it was awesome. And he bled like a mother, like, and it just, your American heroes bleeding on the ground, and later on the image of Hulk bleeding in the camel clutch was awesome. Like,
So, you know what the problem with that is? You guys just gave him so much praise. That's why he tried to pull that fucking great mood of fire shit and fucked it all up years later. That's Dave, your fault. That was all your fault.
He didn't Piper didn't give him a goddamn pep talk. What do you want from him?
Come on, lads, do the fire.
Come on, man, be your best, man. Light that fucking fire. Hogan would be like, "You're right, brother." I'm still beating the Warrior, right?
Yeah.
So I would say overall, God, I mean, I'm having a hard time. From a wrestling standpoint, I'm having a very hard time giving this match a thumbs in the middle, but I'll give it a thumbs in the middle because of the bleeding was cool and it was meant to make Hulk this fucking hero. And at the end, he had the title around his waist, waving the American flag covered in blood. That's what they wanted. And after a tough battle, the United States reigned supreme. Like, that's basically what the whole period at the end of the sentence of WrestleMania
storyline's a total thumbs up, man. It's just beautifully executed. It just, unfortunately, it starts the downgrade of wrestling.
I mean, and I wanted to say that too, looking back, when you're in the thick of 1991 and I named these names, Hogan, Slaughter, Bossman, Perfect, LOD, Hart Foundation, Roberts, Piper, DiBiase, all that stuff, you would not, like, there was no way when we were in the thick of 1991, we thought a wrestling downturn was around the corner. We now know, looking back, that by the end of 92, shit was off the rails for various reasons.
Yeah.
But this was the beginning of the decline, the evidence of the soft ticket sales. Even if they weren't going to fill a building even if they just went to a regular dome and tried to put 60,000 people in it, they wouldn't even sell it. Like, yeah, that's crazy. And so it was evident here. The Hogan gimmick was getting tired. Macho Man retired, so he wasn't, part wrestling actively anymore. There was a lot of shit changing here in this promotion at the time. And so, it was the beginning of the decline. You, again, sitting in the middle of 1991 with all these names around you, how could you even think that? But it's true. It's really true.
It's crazy.
I give it a thumbs up. I think it sent everyone home happy. It did what it was supposed to. Typical Ho, there was nothing really special about it, but it's
Except
just
for
fun.
the end,
the crowd popped. It was, it was long. I guess that's what else. 26 minutes is a long time.
It's a long time to get choked by a microphone wire, get your back raked and shit like that.
Right, yeah. It's true. Just for one blood spot.
For one great blood spot, but then he hulked up and he posed and everybody was happy.
The quote of the night was...
Could have given what, Craig?
You could have given, like I think Jess was saying, 5 or 7 minutes taking it off and given a couple of minutes to one of the other squashes. Not that I can't remember right now which one of those squashes deserved it. There were quite a few squashes. Oh, Power and Glory. Give him 3 minutes. Take it off. But I don't know. I won't hate on it.
No. And at the same time, even if you didn't want to, if you wanted to give Hogan that time, you could have give him. The crowd would have been more happy, probably in my mind, if you had gone 8 to 10 minutes and then posed for 10. They would have been a lot happier about that, So
quote of the night was Regis Philbin. Regis Philbin was a guest commentator for this with Gorilla Monsoon and Bobby Heenan. Quote of the night was, Hulk Hogan, he's the best, isn't he? That's Regis Philbin trying to get in character and sell the fucking product. Like, So stupid. And then Craig and I always pick on the Alex Trebek announced
Hogan
participants in the main event, and he was just off rhythm. He's not a very good ring announcer. Great game show host, not a very good ring announcer.
Guest ring announcers don't work because you're used to the icon voices of the Buffers and Howard Finkel's and Gary Michael Capetta. So when you get someone in there that doesn't know the cadence, that's never done it, it really stands out. And I know for a fact it's because this group has talked about Alex Trebek and the way he said that for 20 years. So just go ahead and just give the wrong way that Alex Trebek introduced Hulk Hogan.
Who the fuck are you to uptick fucking Finkel, by the way? Who the fuck are you? Come on.
I don't know if they had earpieces in their ears here. I don't think they did, but he just seemed rushed. Like he was supposed to announce Hulk. So first of all, Alex Trebek, the music starts playing, and he was like, now his opponent from Venice, California. He didn't even say Venice Beach, California, because he felt he was rushed. So he's like, from Venice, California, weighing 303 pounds, Hulk! Or no, this is the immortal Hulk Hogan. Like, and it was just so like weird and odd, and it was just like, you're used to Howard Finkel going Hogan, like just pushing it out there, but yeah, Alex Trebek just butchered it.
Piper should have gave him a
I was gonna think about it. Who'd have thought?
Short Hogan, long Hogan, man. You gotta stretch out the
you get out there, you long Hogan. Like it has to be long Hogan.
Don't go Hogan. Don't go Hogan. Go Hogan. Man.
I don't think it's gonna get any better from there, guys. Hit us up on Instagram.
Don't say immortal either. That's a stupid word. I've never liked the word immortal. That's stupid. Right. He's not immortal. He's an asshole.
Hit us up on Instagram at OWP 2019. Click on Linktree. Find us on several platforms, including Apple, Spotify, SoundCloud, YouTube, iHeartRadio, and Stitcher, just to name a few. This is Dave, Jess, and Craig with the OWP signing off. Have a good one.